What's up, nerds? In this video I'm gonna show you how you can do fancy hair physics like this. Ooh, swings around. Okay, so first of all we kinda need to figure out how hair moves in reality, and then we need to approximate it by using the physics available here. Those were just, let me delete that. So short hair strands we can basically approximate with one normal, let's say, add simple physics. So just one normal physics that's like a pendulum, very simple. And if you have a longer strand, you just make it longer. And now you can approximate short hair strands with that. The problem is when we have longer hair strands like these, we hide the front. Now suddenly, while we can still just make this a lot longer, this isn't really how hair moves. Hair is flexible. Well, it's kind of stiff in short strands. It's very much not stiff in long strands. So we run the risk of basically just animating a pendulum, which isn't what we want. So to work around that, what we need to do is we need to have a pendulum with several joints. And there is a way to do that in Inochi2d. So first we need to decide how many we want for this strand. You can probably get away with 3. I'm just going to use 4 pendulums for this. When you decide how many you want, you need to kind of keep in mind that every pendulum takes a bit of calculation power away from everything else. So keep it to like the minimum you can get away with while it still looks pretty good. So first we need to measure how long the strand is. So we just position something at the top here. It's at negative 1, 2. And the bottom is about 300. So now let's add the other simple physics. So we want 4 pendulums in total. And the difference between negative 1, 2 and positive 3 is about 1500. So we divide that by 4. We get 3 point something. I'm just gonna go with 3.7. That will probably work. So length 370. The second one 2, 370. Third one 2, 370. And this one 2, 370. Let me rename them really quick. It's the left side, left 1, left 2, left 3, and left 4. Okay, so now that we have these, we need to position them correctly. So to do that, since we can't really make physics visible for some reason, we need to position the first one, which about here. And now we need some reference point. I like to use this little box over here where I, wait, let me first take all of these down here, make the first one visible. And I'm gonna position the bottom at the top corner of this, or at the bottom corner of this. Then I'm gonna select the second one. I'm gonna position it. Oops, that didn't work. Can't zoom. Position it at the bottom corner. Take the second one. It's not on the screen. God damn it. Oh wait, it is. I am so bad at this. Okay. Position. Take the second one. Position at the tip of the first one. Now we want to move this one here. We get the third one. And of course it's not on the screen. Where's the fourth one? It's here. So mark the second one again. And position it. Take the third one. Position it. Take the fourth one. Wait. Position the screen first, of course. It's not on screen, yay. Position the screen. Take the fourth. About there. Now if we select all of them, we're gonna have like one continuous line. Now, we have 4 physics, so we need 4 2D parameters. Just gonna add them all. And we're gonna mark this one for parameter 1, this one parameter 2, this one parameter 3, and this one parameter 4. Now, what we want is a normal pendulum, not a spring pendulum, because hair isn't really springy. It's once you put it to length, it's yeah, pretty not springy. Very, yeah, that. So the angle length is not really what we want here. We want the XY. It's easier to work with in terms of the what do you call it? Yeah, the position of the pendulums at the bottom. So we want the XY, which means these values are basically locked to this line. And just to make this more more visible, we can edit the properties. We're never gonna go below 0 on Y. And we can add the axis point to delete the half point in the Y. This makes it a bit more visible. Yeah, we're gonna do the same for every one of these. Zero, 0, and now edit the axis points. Delete that, and delete that. Oh, of course, we also need to set all of these to XY. And you can rename the parameters. I'm just gonna leave them. Okay, now that we have this, we need to start adding the bottom pendulums to the top pendulum. So we're gonna arm the parameter, gonna select the second pendulum, this top corner. Now the calculation works in a way where the output of the pendulum gets divided by 200, by the length, so in our case 370, which then translates to 1 here. And in order to map our XY values to the tip of the pendulum, we need to move this by negative XY, negative 370 X and Y. So negative 370, that's positive. Same thing for the Y. And then we can just set from mirror horizontally, and that should work. Now we need to do the same thing for the third physics. So negative 370, negative 370, and set from mirror horizontally. This automatically sets this to 0, which is what we want. Now the fourth, select the correct key point, 370, negative 370, and set from mirror horizontally. Now we can go out of this parameter. We're going to select the second parameter, and we're going to need a third and fourth for this one. We're going to do the same thing. Select the key point, negative 370, negative 37. This is not what I wanted to type. 370, okay. Typing is hard. Set from mirror horizontally. And the fourth one, select the correct key point, negative 370, negative 370, and set mirror horizontally. You can go out of this one. Now we select the third one. Now depending on how many you have, just, yeah, the same thing, just with all of the pendulums below the current one. So, first we need to select the correct key point, negative 370, negative 370, set from mirror horizontally. Because now, if we mark all of our pendulums and we start moving them, we can see that we have one chain of pendulums. Now, this kind of depends on what you want to do with your character, because if we want to approximate it more realistically, I would set the top one, the gravity scale, to ×4, then the second to 3, and the third to ×2, because that way this looks a bit more realistic, because the bottom part of the hair drags down the springiness of the top part. But if you want your character to be a little bit more, I don't know, fluffy, like you always have this with boobs usually, where they kind of look like they are in zero gravity. So you might not want to do this, or might want to set completely different scales. As long as you map them correctly in the parameters here, and it's still one continuous chain, you should be fine. So for underwater effects or zero gravity, you obviously would set it way lower. But this is artistic interpretation, so that's not my problem in this tutorial. I'm just gonna use the basic one with 4 times, 3 times, and double gravity. Okay, so now in order to actually map the mesh, this, to whatever animation we dictate by physics, we will have to move to Krita to actually make kind of these pendulums more visible, so that we have key points we can work with. So what we're just gonna do is we're gonna take a line, adjust the size to something sensible. Just gonna draw down 216. Oops. Why is it snapping? Okay, 216. And Then we will just take a different color. Same thing. To 16. Then the third pendulum. I like using the texture grid in the background to adjust my lines. Okay. And the fourth pendulum. Why is this snapping like this? This is annoying. Is this? Oh, this is the middle. Hold on, let me line this up. Okay, this might make it easier. Wait, where was the middle? Here. So we're gonna use 216. Then the second pendulum, 216. The third pendulum. It doesn't really matter how long you make them, just make them the same length you can see over here. And the fourth one, 216. And since we mapped the key points to the basically 90-degree rotation, we will just take another color, just do 216, 90 degrees to either direction. Don't have to be really exact with the length. It's not like someone's actually gonna measure this. And 216 thereabouts. Something like this. Something like this. And okay, almost done. Last one. 216 and 216. Okay. You can also basically add the lines down, but it's kind of pointless because we already have this point down here. So we will just save this as a PNG. So file, export, save as pendulum. Yes, yes. Then we will go back to Inochi-Creator. Now here, what we will do is we will merge image files, and then we will select the pendulum we just created. Okay, awesome. Now, I don't want this in the mesh group. Just gonna move this here. Now what we want to do is we want to move this root to the top of this graphic. We can just use the texture offset for that. And if it's in that point, we move it up. We select the pendulum. And this time we use the reference point down in the corner over here. And we will move the root of the graphic to the same point as the root of the first pendulum. Okay, great. Now we can select the last pendulum. We will line it up with the bottom of our screen. Oop, did I hit it? Somewhere around here. Select the pendulum again, and we will scale it on the y-axis until we hit the bottom of the screen. Ooh. That seems about right. And then we will just adjust this one to the same scale, the X scale. Okay, great. Now if we look at all of our pendulums, we can see that they, well, at least mostly line up with the texture we created. Again, this is not really, you don't have to be like pixel perfect. This is like a simple guide. We're not going to follow it exactly anyway. Okay, so now we can basically start the animation. So we will select the first parameter, arm this key point up here, and select the strand we want to animate. This doesn't really line up with the mesh, so I'm just gonna move all of this a little right on this. Oh, because yeah. Just move this a little bit over here. See if that's a bridge. Maybe like tiny bit like this. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Now, wait. The parameter was armed. God damn it. Remove. Remove. Again. You know what? I'm just gonna line it up with this corner. Let's go. Mark all of these. Put the root into the corner. See if it lines up. Not exactly. Move it back a little bit. See if it lines up. Yeah, good enough. Okay, now that we have figured out this, we can actually arm the parameter. And we will, yeah, basically what we want to do is we want to have this strand, if it's one line. Wait, why isn't it scaled correctly? Disarm the parameter, all right. 1.71. Okay, gotta have everything correctly, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to basically have the strand do a line over here and go down here again, because this is the point that actually moves. So we want to move this chunk and the chunk below. This is important, otherwise it looks very jagged. So we're gonna arm the parameter. Then we will just mark all of this. Just move it out of the way. Now we can use this. Actually, we don't want. Okay. Now this, and we just do a normal path deform. I like to use every second point. This is basically however you want it to be. Then we go to transform path and we move the green dots into it will look very bad. We just try to make like one line, and once we have all the points where they need to go, it will look pretty normal again. Okay. Maybe move this like this. Because this is the start, it kind of looks weird when you have like a hard line like this. You kind of have to think about how you want to model that. In my case, I'm just going to cover it up. So that's not really a problem. Also, you will never actually reach this 90-degree angle. So don't really stress too much about how that looks. Where were we? Right. Okay, so now that we have... Hold on. I fucked it up. Good. Okay, so now that we have this line, we will not fuck it up. And we just move it in like a curve. Now this will look very weird until you move the final dots into place, but it's fine. Okay, maybe go down a bit more at the start because this is the starting piece. Then move this more like this. That seems about right. Now the vertices obviously kind of look fucked, but it's probably fine. Also, if you have wider strands, you see how this is not going to work with that. I might do a tutorial on how to do like back hair, like on the back here, because you obviously can't do it like this. Okay, now that we have the strand mostly in place, we have to think about, now if this pendulum swings 90 degrees, this point actually doesn't move the full 90 degrees. So keep that in mind when you animate this. Don't make like a straight line or something. Get it close to here where it still looks okay, but yeah, don't get it, don't mess it up too much, and don't, yeah, just have a straight line, which will also look bad. Okay, now we can just select all of these again and move it to where it's supposed to be, below that. Okay. Now there's a slight problem because if I just reset the animation like this and I do a path again, path, hello, okay, and I try to move it, it will do this. I don't know if this is just a bug on Linux or just a normal Inochi bug, but yeah. So what I do is I unset this part, and I use these key points to basically reset, reset, and 0, 0 is always reset. And this way I don't have it set for this key point, and for some reason it works now. So I can again select these points, move them to the other side this time, and use the path deform tool, set the dots, and now I can just transform the path like normal. Like, if you have this bug, just reset the points around the one you want to set, and it will work. Ah, yes, do not have this selected. This will mess everything up. Okay, again. Points. and deform, and just move them in a curve. This will look kind of funky till the last point, at which point you can just adjust the curve. Remember, you want to have this point about where the green line here ends. Or I guess this one was a little bit above, so I'm gonna set it above. Try to keep like a similar distance because these blue points are also on a similar distance. This will keep your animation kind of even. So move the points around the curve. And when you feel like it's good enough, you select this part and move it down here. Okay. Now we can go back to unsetting these points so that we actually only have this, and the reset. And we can already test the first pendulum, which will look okay-ish, because you only moved the top part, but that's what we wanted. Now we move on to the second parameter. We will arm the point up here. Select this part again. And this time we want this chunk and this chunk to move into this box. So I will select all of these points and just move them out of the way. Now I will select all of these points as well. So I don't affect these points with my curve. That was a weird modification. Okay. So again, start with the blue dots. Set up the reference point. I always like to have the top and bottom point a little bit below. I don't know if it actually does anything, but gives me security. Okay, now we want to move this in a curve where we end up at the end of this green line. And when you have like these strands poking out, you kind of want to make sure that they're not like wrapping around themselves. So try to keep an eye out for those. Yeah, this seems okay-ish. Also not too much distortion over here. Can kind of play around with this point a bit. Don't want to move this too much because it's in the upper part. Okay, looks good, looks good. Take the vertex tool. Move them in place. Okay. Now we reset these 2 points to avoid the bug again. Mark these. Move them out of the way. Mark these. Select the path deform. And Define paths. Okay. And do the same funny game again. I messed the points up somewhere. Doesn't matter. Transform path. Oh, I messed them up in the middle. Okay. Move them into the curve, but on the other side. Okay. Middle was kind of messed up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's a bit of a bigger gap between these two. We kind of have a little dent. It's not too bad. Okay, okay. Let's smooth out the transition between these stages here. That's yeah, you will see the transition if you move around a lot and if it's kind of jagged. Seems okay. Now let's take the vertex tool and move it into place again. Something like that, yeah. And we want to unset our bug prevention points again. Now if we want to test this, already looks pretty good. We. And move it back. Move on to the third parameter. Just the same thing, basically. Except we don't need to move anything out of the way this time. We just take the vertex tool, mark all of this. Take the path deform tool. And actually I want these points in there as well. Path deform tool. Set like every second point. Did I mess them up again? Okay. Transform. Move him into a curve. Two dots left. The curve is over. Okay. Close enough. Move all of these points a little bit more over here. Yeah, this is kinda weird. Maybe move this over here a bit. Yeah, this might be a bit too aggressive of a start. Let's smooth this out a bit more. Can't actually see what's behind the line. I can't click out without destroying my path deform. That's probably fine, right? Probably fine. Okay, vertex tool. We reset the points around this. We still have it marked, okay. We're gonna take the path define tool, path transform tool to define the paths. And set a point for every second one. Transform the path. Move them all into one curve. This always looks funny when you do this. So many points. But I still have points left. What is happening? There are so many. Oh, we are 2 below. Okay. I actually have a lot more space down here. Out like this. Kind of have this strand over here which gets squished in the edges. I want this to be a little bit more defined. Something like this. This seems fine. So kind of jagged over here, but yeah, what are you gonna do? And go back to this. And we unset the bug prevention keys. We disarm the parameter. Yeah, right. Check if it looks okay. Looks pretty good. Now just the last parameter, which we didn't actually have anything set until now. Select the thing we want to transform. Select all the vertices. Actually, I'm gonna take the one on top of that too. Select the correct keyframe. Okay. Let me drink something. Stay hydrated, guys. And we will start adding our blue dots, like always. Then we will transform this. Now this is the last one, so basically just want this to yeah, go up to this point approximately. So just move the curve in a way where it makes sense. Something like that, maybe. The edge is actually pretty bad. Let's smooth that one out a bit. Yeah. It's a pretty aggressive curve. Maybe if we move this down a bit more. Okay. I wish I had a key point above this. But this should be fine. Like it's not like we're gonna reach the 90%, 90-degree angle anyway. So, oh, we actually have, we look at the reference, we have like 2 dots further out, so we have more space to work with. Helps to look at the blue line sometimes. Yeah, this should work. Can I just move over here and start moving this? There is no way, right? Yeah, no, there is no way. Unlucky. Unset. Reset. Reset. And define paths. Please tell me to set. Okay. I thought I forgot to set this. Okay, like 2 dots below this. This one is actually the bottom, so we have a bit more space to work with here than it would seem. But we don't want to stretch it. Like, we just want to kind of keep the distances between the red dots. Seems okay. This one isn't. There's a little bit of an edge here, but that's fine. Okay. Unset these 2 points. This arm. And now we should hide the reference. Now this kind of works. We have a hair strand that is properly animated. Now you can, of course, go into the single hair strands and animate them like individually, like add small pendulums over here that move with that make these smaller ends move a little bit differently from each other. You will have to set key points for this pendulum, for example, in all of these 4 parameters so that it actually moves with with the hair. So this is a bit involved, but it will give you one of the best results for for natural looking hair physics. Well, that was my tutorial. Have fun. I maybe will make more tutorials. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And good luck.